Welcome, everyone. Today we're doing a deep dive into, well, a really ancient text. But it's got some surprisingly fresh insights on a problem that's anything but ancient: conflict and how we find peace.
That's right. We're digging into a source called God Brings Peace in Conflict, and specifically a section from Genesis 31. It focuses on Jacob and his father-in-law, Laban. Talk about family drama.
Oh, yeah. So our mission for you, the listener.
It's really to pull out these powerful ideas about facing fear, navigating, let's be honest, really messy family stuff, and how that can actually lead to real peace.
Or not just through, gritting your teeth and getting through it.
No, exactly. The source suggests it's about a different kind of focus, not just human effort.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The source jumps right into Jacob's story. He basically sneaks away from Laban. Why? Because he's afraid.
Deeply afraid, yeah. And here's where it gets really interesting, kind of counterintuitive even. Well, Jacob's wife, Rachel, she does something pretty major. She steals her father Laban's household idols. These weren't just decorations. They were symbols of, family lineage, maybe even wealth or authority. A serious betrayal.
A huge mistake, basically.
Definitely. But the source insists that despite Jacob's fear, despite Rachel's major transgression, Jacob and his family were still protected.
Protected? Even with all that going on?
Mm-hmm. The source emphasizes that this protection, this faithfulness, isn't based on us being strong or perfect. It claims there's this higher power watching over us, even when we're scared, even when we mess up badly.
That's quite something. It sort of makes you think about times maybe things went okay, even when you felt completely out of control or like you'd made a wrong turn.
Exactly. And it raises that big question, okay, so how does this apply to us, practically speaking?
Right. What does the source suggest?
Well, a few things. First, when you feel anxious, pray first. Don't wait until you're desperate. Make it the first step.
Kind of recentering before reacting.
Precisely. And second, try not to let fear just run the show and dictate your decisions. Pause. And maybe try to remember times in the past you got through something difficult, maybe unexpectedly.
Build up that evidence file you mentioned earlier.
Sort of, yeah. Remembering past help can be powerful.
Okay, so that covers the fear and protection aspect, even in weakness. But what about direct conflict? Jacob and Laban eventually have this big confrontation. How does the source suggest moving towards peace there?
Right. It shifts focus. The story describes them making a covenant, a formal agreement.
Okay, a peace treaty, basically.
Yes, but with a key element. They set up a stone pillar as a witness.
We're witness to their agreement.
More than that, it's like they're calling on a divine presence to witness and sort of enforce the peace between them. The source argues that real peace, lasting peace, doesn't just come from human promises.
It needs that higher element.
That's the idea. Recognizing and inviting that divine presence is what helps truly make things right, according to the text. It shifts the dynamic.
So, for someone listening, dealing with their own conflicts, what's the translation?
It means consciously bringing a spiritual dimension into it. Maybe that looks like actively choosing peace over getting even.
Setting boundaries, maybe?
Yeah.
But ones that align with your deeper values.
Exactly. And trusting that there's a bigger picture, a higher judgment, even if the immediate situation feels unresolved or unfair. It's about introducing a different kind of power into the equation than just willpower or negotiation tactics.
So if we had to boil this all down, what's the core message from this deep dive? The one big takeaway?
I think the source is saying, God leads us to peace. Or maybe more accurately, orienting ourselves towards that higher presence, that's what leads to peace.
Even when things are messy. Even when we're flawed.
Especially then. It suggests that this focus, this trust, fundamentally changes the path, moving beyond just human haggling to something deeper, a spiritual alignment.
Okay, so for you, the listener, here's something to maybe chew on after this finishes.
Yeah.
How might intentionally inviting that spiritual or higher perspective into your own difficult conflicts, how might that shift things? Not just the outcome, maybe, but your own internal feeling of peace. Something to think about.